Hello students, so far we have discussed about constructional features of a transformer. Now let us try to understand losses in a transformer. Okay, so mainly we have a core in a transformer which is made of a magnetic material, okay, namely CRGO steel, okay, and it is a steel material. So by default steel is a metal which allows current to flow through it, right? So we are having a magnetic material like as a core, and we have two windings, primary and secondary. Okay, I have already told you primary and secondary windings will be having some internal resistance R1 and R2. So whenever current flows through these resistances, there will be a power drop across these resistance. They are I2 square, I1 square R1 and I2 square R2. These are copper losses as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so as our current varies, our copper loss will also vary because it is a dependent quantity. Okay, so let us discuss about major losses in our transformer. First one is copper loss in transformer windings. Second one is iron loss in transformer core, therefore called core losses. Okay, because the losses are occurring in core, the iron losses are called core losses. Now let us discuss about first type of loss, that is copper loss. Okay, the copper losses I square R losses in transformer windings due to winding resistance. Okay, so here we are having two windings, primary winding and secondary winding. The copper loss in primary is called primary copper loss, that is I1 square R1, and copper loss in secondary copper loss is I2 square R2. So total copper loss in a transformer is I1 square R1 plus I2 square R2. Okay, now copper losses are proportional to square of the load current. Here you can see copper loss is proportional to I1 square or it is proportional to I2 square. So these I1 and I2 will vary according to our load current demand. So if the load demands more current, the I1 and I2 will change. Okay, so that's why the copper loss is proportional to square of the load current. Okay, as load current changes, the copper loss will change. Okay, as load current changes, copper losses changes. So these losses are called variable losses. Okay, so here one more thing is, as load changes, copper loss changes. Here when load changes, copper loss changes. So here, so let us talk about load here. So load is nothing but load is connected and the secondary of a transformer. Okay, so this is the load connected to the secondary. Okay, load. So when load connected, load current will flow on the secondary and that will demand more current from the primary I1 dash in addition to I0 no load current. This is our total I1. So we know that primary current I1 equal to I0 plus I1 dash, where this I1 dash is load component of primary current and IL is load current, okay, which is same as secondary current, right? Okay, so whenever load demands more current, so IL should increase. So to supply this IL, I1 dash should increase. Okay, so here when load is changing, the current in the windings is being changed, right? So when the current is changing, the loss due to current flow and resistance, that is copper loss, will change. Okay, so the change is given as copper loss at a fraction of x percentage of full load. Okay, so here x is percentage of full load, x is percentage of load fraction, I can say. Okay, if it is full load, that will be 1. For full load, x equal to 1. For half load, it will be 1 by 2. So this full load, half load will be determined by the ratings of a transformer. Okay, so the transformer will be given a nameplate details on which it will be mentioned that this transformer is useful up to this extent of power only. Okay, so that is what a full load. Okay, so this transformer is capable of delivering this much of load. That is the maximum load that can be applied in transformer. That is called full load. Okay, so on full load, you are going to get x equal to 1. For half load is 1 by 2. Okay, so copper loss at fraction of x of full load is given as x square of full load copper loss. Okay, for half load it is 1 by 2. That means copper loss will be 1 by 2 whole square into full load copper loss. So to understand this, let us take one example here, simple example. So here the full load copper loss, whenever the full load is applied on a machine, full load copper losses occurring in the machine are treated as 1000 watts. So these are the total copper losses in the transformer at full load at x equal to 1. Right? Now let us reduce the load to half. Half load is applied on the transformer. So at half load, what is the copper loss here? Copper loss should be equal to, here x equal to 1 because it is full load. Now it is 1 by 2, x is 1 by 2 because it is half load. Okay, into full load copper loss is 1000, that will be 1 by 4 into 1000, right? So copper loss at half full load is equal to 250 watts. Okay, for full load the copper losses were 1000 watts. Per half load they are reduced by 1/4. Okay, so this is copper losses at fraction of full load. Okay, so this is about copper losses. Now let us see the second losses in a transformer. They are iron losses or core losses. Okay, so these are the second losses we are discussing. So here iron losses are two types mainly. One is hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. Okay, so the following are the two types of iron losses takes place in core due to time varying nature of the flex. So this is little bit interesting here because we are going to apply AC to our transformer, right? On the primary we are applying AC. AC is nothing but alternating current. That means the quantity, the magnitude of current will keep on changing with respect to time. That is nothing but time varying nature of AC current. So here we are applying AC current, AC voltage, AC supply. So what is AC supply here? Here this is AC waveform. Let us apply. This is the V1 applying to the transformer. So we know that as time tends to towards infinite, so this magnitude will keep on changing, right? This magnitude, right? So this is nothing but time varying nature. Time varying nature. So as time is changing, the magnitude of the waveform is keeps on changing. Okay, this is called time varying nature. Okay, when AC is applied, we are knowing that flux is being generated in the core. So because it is being generated due to time varying nature of current, so flux will also be time varying nature. So this is about time varying nature of flux. So here you can see AC current or AC voltage is positive for one half cycle and negative for one half cycle. That means, so the flux will continue to flow in this direction for one cycle and it will tries to flow in this opposite to the first direction in the negative half cycle. So in the positive half cycle of current, the flux will flow in forward direction. For the negative half cycle, it will flow in the reverse direction. It will tries to flow in the reverse direction. So for every half cycle, these are called domains here. So in current, it was electrons moving forward and backward, but in magnetic material, it is called magnetic domains. Okay, so these domains will try to move forward for positive half cycle of current, and they will try to flow in reverse for negative half cycle of supply current. Okay, so this reversal of magnetic domains will cause some power loss in the core. Okay, so let us try to understand it clearly. Okay, so far we understand that we are giving AC supply to the transformer core, and the domains in the magnetic material tries to flow in forward direction for positive half cycle of supply, and the domains will try to flow in the reverse direction for negative half cycle of supply voltage. Okay, now what is hysteresis loss here? It is due to the reversal of magnetization of transformer. Okay, so here the reversal of these domains taking place for every one full cycle. They are trying to flow in forward as well as backward. So this reversal of magnetization of transformer core, whenever it is subjected to alternating nature of magnetic force, it is called hysteresis loss. Okay, so this reversal process will consume some power, that is called hysteresis loss. Whenever a magnetic material is subjected to alternating magnetic force, that is nothing but AC flux, which is being generated by AC current supplied to the primary. Okay, the domain present in the magnetic material will change their orientation after every half cycle. This is what I have explained so far. The power consumed by the magnetic domains to change their orientation after every half cycle whenever core is subjected to alternating nature of magnetizing force is called hysteresis loss. I hope you understand now. Okay. So this is about hysteresis loss. Hysteresis loss is loss due to reversal of magnetic domains in forward and backward direction in one full cycle of AC supply. Okay. So to make it happen, we have to supply some current to the transformer that is being wasted as a hysteresis loss. Okay. Now let us see the magnetization curve. So which we have already discussed, which is also called as BH curve. Okay, the magnetic reversal of transformer core is plotted by means of curve called magnetization curve. That means, so we are going to see the magnetization behavior, that means magnetic reversal process here. So I'm going to take AC supply here. So let us take one full cycle of AC supply. So let us take, this is a supply current applied to the primary, which is AC quantity. Okay, now we are going to draw the curve between flux and this excitation current. Okay, high excitation. Okay, so when the supply is 0, there will be no flux. Okay, but after some point, after increasing current to some extent, okay, at this point of instant 1, so there will be rise in flux. Okay, so y-axis is having flux, here x-axis is having exciting current. So up to this point there was no flux. Now the flux is increasing like this. Okay, and it will increase up to the peak value of current, supply current at second instance. Okay, now after second instance the current is decreasing towards 0 and the flux will also try to reduce towards 0, and it will come to this position here, 0.3. When the current, supply current is at position 3, the flux is at position 3. Okay, it is not 0. Even the current is 0 on this point, you can say this can be 0 comma 3, right? This point can be written as 0 comma, if this is 0, 0 comma 3. Okay, if current is 0 but flux is having some value. Now the current, supply current is going to the negative half cycle. So let us take this instance here, fourth instance. So that is negative maximum. So current will be negative maximum, so flux will be negative maximum. And after this point, from 4th to 5th instance of supply, the flux will try to increase again. So this is the process. Actually, if it is starting from 0.1, this is initially it starts from here actually. So from 0 it will take peak. Okay, from 0 point it will take 0.2 here. Okay, so after that it will come back like this. Okay, this is the direction, and it will retain here. Okay, so this is 0.00 to 3. So let me mention it as 0, 3. So this is some flux here, that is called residual flux due to retentivity of the material. This is retentivity, famously called as retentivity. That means even there is no excitation, there is some flux available in the core material. So this is called residual flux. Even there is no supply current, there is some flux available in the core, that is called retentivity. Okay, so after 3 it is going to peak 4. Okay, fourth peak, so that is negative peak, it will tries to flow like this. Okay, so after 4 it is again rising from negative peak to towards 0, so that means it is a positive value, it will rise like this, and this process will continue for every cycle of supply. Okay, so here this point, at this point of interaction, that is, let us take it as y point, that is 0 to y, there is no flux but there is some current. Okay, this is famously called as coercivity. That is coercive force due to, this is coercive force. So why do we need this coercive force? So here at this 0 point of current, there is still some flux available in the core. To make this flux to 0, we need some negative current, that is called coercive current, that is from 0 to y, we need some current to make the flux to 0, that is called coercive force. Okay, so this is BH curve, that is magnetization curve in a transformer. Okay, now how can we relate this to our hysteresis loss? So hysteresis loss is nothing but, we know that hysteresis loss will take place. We consider this theory for one full cycle. So in one full cycle, the magnetic domains in the magnetic core material tries to flow in forward for positive half cycle and reverse for negative half cycle. That means one full cycle will be having one forward path for domains and one reverse path. That means here we are losing some power due to hysteresis loss. The hysteresis loss for one full cycle is equal to area enclosed in the one hysteresis loop. That means this loss due to this reversal of domains in one full cycle is nothing but area under this curve here. So this area, okay, this area will give us the hysteresis loss for one cycle. Okay, so this is how we can relate hysteresis loss with BH curve. So the area under BH curve for one full cycle, will give us hysteresis loss for one complete cycle. Okay, so this is hysteresis loss. Mathematically it can be given by Steinmetz formula. Okay, mathematically hysteresis loss can be formulated as WH, this is loss due to hysteresis effect, hysteresis loss. Okay, that is this eta, this is called eta, right? That is called Steinmetz constant. Bmax is flux density, F is frequency, and V is volume of the core. So it depends on the volume of the core also. The hysteresis loss is directly proportional to volume of the core. If the volume of the core is more, the hysteresis loss is more. If the frequency is more, the hysteresis loss will be more. Okay, and here this Bmax is nothing but maximum flux density that is being generated in the core. Flux density, maximum flux density. This can be given as flux per unit area pi by A. Okay, so this X is called Steinmetz exponent here. This value for silicon material is 1.6. Okay, generally it varies from 1.5 to 2.5. It is 1.6 for silicon steel. Okay, now, so as I told you earlier, what is the EMF expression for transformer? That is 4.44 N pi F. So let us take pi as reference. So that will be, pi will be equal to E by F. Pi will be proportional to E by F. The flux in the core material is proportional to EMF and flux frequency. If frequency is increased, the flux in the core will decrease. Okay, if frequency is increased, the flux in the core is decreased. If EMS is increased, the flux in the core will increase. So the flux in the core will increase up to some extent only. So let us go back to BH curve. So here you can see. So I'm taking this green color. So up to this point, the current was linear, increasing the current linear. But after this point, the flux is not increasing from position A to position B. The flux is not linear. It is having some constant flux here. You can see the change in flux from A to B here is not as much of change in current from A to B. That means I can say the flux is the core is saturated. That means there will be no increase in flux if you increase the current, supply current beyond some limit. That means, so if I want to increase the flux, I can increase the current, supply current, right? Okay, so if I increase the supply current, the flux has to increase. But as you go on increasing the current, the flux may not increase as proportion to supply current, because there is a property of our magnetic material that is called saturation. Magnetic core gets saturated after some excitation current. So if you increase the current beyond this excitation current, there will be no increase in the flux of the core, because the core is saturated. It cannot give the flux you require more from it. It will give as it is rated. it won't give beyond that limit. Okay, that is called saturation limit. That means if you increase this EMF, the flex has to increase, but there is a problem of saturation, so the behavior of non-linearity of the core will come into picture. This is nothing but non-linearity, right? So that's why we need to keep this E by F ratio should as constant, so that the flex in the core will constant, right? So there are the cases here. First, we are going to keep the V by F ratio constant, that is Bmax as constant, and we are going to see this effect on hysteresis loss. Okay, so area closed with in one hysteresis loop is nothing but constant now. So hysteresis loss is proportional to frequency. Earlier it was eta Bmax x, that is 1.6 into F into V, right? So now, so this is a constant. Now frequency is the only variable thing. Volume of the core is constant once it is manufactured, and Bmax is kept constant now. So our hysteresis loss is now proportional to frequency only. That means if I keep V by F ratio constant, the hysteresis loss in a transformer is proportional to frequency. So to remove this proportionality, I have kept a constant A here. Okay, now let us see the case for if I could not keep V by F ratio constant, so Bmax will not be constant. So here Bmax will be varying. Okay, so area enclosed within one hysteresis loop is not constant. So hysteresis loss is B eta Bmax 1.6 F into V. So volume is constant, but frequency and Bmax are not constant now, because Bmax is V by F and X is 1.6. So if you substitute Bmax, that will be V by F whole power 1.6 into F. So if you rearrange this will be V1 power 1.6, okay, into F1 power minus 1.6 into F power 1. Okay, this is F, right, not F1. Okay, so this will become, so as bases are same, we can add the powers, so that will be, the hysteresis loss can be written as A into V1 power 1.6 F power minus 0.6 for V by F not constant. Okay, so if V by F is not constant, the hysteresis loss is dependent quantity of voltage as well as frequency now. Initially for V by F equal to constant, the hysteresis loss was only dependent quantity on frequency. Okay, if V by F is not constant, this is dependent quantity on voltage as well as frequency. Okay, now let us see the second loss in iron losses, that is eddy current loss. So as we know that core is a magnetic material as well as conducting material, because it is made up of silicon, it is a conducting material. Okay, so the flux is flowing in the core, so that flux will also cut this steel material. Okay, this steel material is a inherent conductor, so it will also try to flow some current. Okay, so this current in the steel material, which is acting as a core, will also drop some power. Okay, the current in the core material is called eddy current. Eddy current. So the power loss due to this eddy current in the core material is called eddy current loss. Core is a magnetic material which is also a conducting material, so current will flow through it because the flux is flowing through it. This flux cuts the core material, so this phenomena will result in eddy currents. This eddy current flow through the core, that is core resistance, that is given as RC. So this is nothing but eddy current loss. Eddy current loss is basically I square R loss present in the core due to production of eddy currents in the core because of its conductivity. Okay, RCE is called resistance offered by the core to the flow of eddy current. Okay, eddy current loss is proportional to conductivity of the core. So the more is the conductivity of the core, the more will be the eddy current loss. So by reducing conductivity of the core, we can reduce eddy currents, right? So how can you reduce eddy current? So how can you reduce conductivity of the core? So that is possible by adding some percentage of silica to the core material, that is 4 to 5% of silica is added to the steel material, so the conductivity of the material will reduce. Okay, second method is by using laminated core. We know that the core is not used as solid core, it is a laminated core. That means the core is divided into small laminations and the laminations are staggered together with a insulation. When insulation is placed between the laminations, the current will not flow. The current flow will be almost eliminated, because insulation doesn't allow current through to flow. So this insulation between each and every lamination, so there is a insulation which is in red color. So like this insulation can be mica sheets, or there is a special oxide. Okay, so this insulation doesn't allow eddy currents to flow in the core material, so that the eddy current loss will be reduced. Okay, so we can reduce the conductivity of the material by adding silica of 4%, and by laminating the core we can eliminate the eddy current. So eddy current loss is given by WE is nothing but eddy current loss is K into Bmax square F square T square, where Bmax is maximum flux density. Here the eddy current loss is proportional to Bmax as well as frequency and thickness of the lamination. Here thickness of the lamination comes into picture, because the eddy current loss depends on the thickness. Okay, if the more is the thickness, the more is the eddy current loss. The less is the thickness of the core lamination, the less will be the eddy current. So generally the the laminations will be in the range of 3 to 5 mm, 3 mm to 5 mm, the thickness of the lamination. Okay, so if we reduce thickness, we can reduce the eddy currents. So during operation, Bmax should be kept constant. So let us see the cases here. If V by F ratio is constant, Bmax is constant, eddy current loss will only be a dependent quantity of frequency, that is eddy current loss is B into F square. So if V by F ratio is not constant, so at this point of time, if V by F ratio is constant, the total iron losses, which is sum of hysteresis loss and eddy current losses, can be given as A into F plus B into F square. This is when V by F ratio is constant. Okay, now for V by F ratio is not constant, Bmax is not constant, Bmax is V by F. So eddy current loss will be B square into F square. So if you substitute V by F in place of Bmax, the eddy current loss will be proportional to voltage square. That is, eddy current loss for V by F ratio not constant is proportional to voltage square. But in case of hysteresis loss, it was A into V1 power 1.6 into F power minus 0.6. So if we add total losses under V by F ratio is not constant, that will be A into V1 power 1.6 into F power minus 0.6 plus B into V1. This is eddy current loss, this is hysteresis loss. Okay, as iron loss depends on voltage, applied voltage, and independent on the load current. So we know that iron losses is almost dependent quantity of this supply voltage. So supply voltage is constant once it is supplied. This loss is treated as constant loss, since applied voltage is constant during normal operation. So iron losses are constant losses. But when it comes to copper losses, they are variable losses. Okay, so remember this one. This is very important. Iron losses are constant losses or fixed losses, but copper losses are variable losses. Okay, so let us summarize this. So here we are having V by F ratio constant, and V by F ratio is not maintained constant. So what is the behavior of hysteresis loss, eddy current loss, and total iron loss, which is sum of hysteresis and eddy current loss. So when V by F ratio is kept constant, the hysteresis loss is proportional to frequency only, and eddy current loss is proportional to frequency square. When V by F ratio is not maintained constant, the hysteresis loss is A into V1 power 1.6 and F power minus 0.6. Eddy current loss is directly proportional to, so this is B. Let's take B here. No, this is A. For hysteresis loss it is A, for eddy current loss it is B. Constant is B. Okay. So, and when V by F ratio is not kept constant, that is B into V1 square. Okay. So let us add them. That is A into F plus B into F square. Total iron losses when V by F ratio is kept constant, and A into V1 power 1.6 F power minus 0.6 plus B into V1 square when V by F ratio is not kept constant. Okay. So this is about losses in a transformer. Okay, so I hope you are getting it right. Iron losses are fixed losses, but copper losses are variable losses. These are the very important points. And iron losses consist of two losses. They are hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. Okay. Okay, hysteresis loss is proportional to frequency. when V by F ratio is constant and eddy current is proportional to frequency square. When V by F ratio is not maintained constant, hysteresis loss is A into V1 power 1.6 into F power 0.6. So here it was only dependent quantity on frequency. Now it is dependent quantity of supply voltage. But eddy current loss, for if V by F ratio is maintained constant, it is dependent quantity on frequency square. If V by F ratio is not maintained constant, it is supply voltage square. Okay, V1 square. So this is about losses of a transformer, losses in a transformer. Let us do some problem so that you can understand it.